everyone! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Pearl, and here we talk about health, fitness, wellness, and all the above. This is part 2 of my 4-part series of how to thrive during quarantine, because we're trying to thrive, not just survive here, okay? So today I'm going to be talking about how to stay healthy at home during quarantine. As I'm sure many of us are struggling with what to eat at home, how to stay healthy at home. Some of us may be bored, trying to figure out what to do, so we walk to the fridge multiple times. I just want to share some of my tips and tricks that help me stay healthy during these times, especially when we're at home during quarantine. Before I go into that, I do want to talk about a couple things that might be different for this time period as well. It's always important, always has been important to be healthy and stay healthy and do the things we need to do to achieve that goal of ours, if that is your goal. One thing that's very different about these times is that we are in very, very high stress right now. And when we are stressed out for a long period of time, which is called chronic stress, we release a hormone called cortisol. And I'm sure many of you have heard of this stress hormone. When cortisol is released for extended periods of time, it actually causes us to crave high fat and high sugar food because our body is in a high stress state. It thinks we need the extra energy to function properly. Some of us have experienced chronic stress before and may or may not have noticed the differences in our hunger. Either way, it's very important to be aware of this and know how to mitigate any of those cravings. So today I'm going to be talking about some of the top things I found helpful to help me stay healthy at home. The first thing I'm going to talk about is planning ahead. For me, planning ahead has made a huge difference in my life. I'm the type of person I like to meal prep and plan what I'm going to be eating every day of the week. This causes me to have decreased stress around what I'm going to eat, if I have the groceries or not, when I'm going to eat it, and all these other questions that come up. Now, if you're not the type of person that to meal prep, that's okay, but it's still a really good idea to at least plan what you're gonna eat the next day, the night before. So you don't just end up ordering some takeout or not eating at all. For me, planning ahead has been huge. I write down a list of things that I wanna cook, and I always refer back to that list for when I need ideas on what to buy, what to cook, and what meals I should be having for that week. This can be taken many different ways. You can take the time to plan every day, or you can plan twice a week, or you can plan once a week like myself. It's really up to you, but I believe having a plan set in place really relieves the burden of making decisions around eating every day, because we do eat. Most of us do eat 3 times a day, and having to decide that every single day is another burden on our minds that we may not need in our life, especially right now. So I encourage you all to try and plan ahead, even if it's just for the next day. My second tip is to only buy healthy foods as much as you can. When I'm hungry or I'm bored and I go to my cupboard and I see nothing there, I ask myself, am I really hungry? Probably wasn't. So I go back to doing whatever I was doing on Instagram or on the computer. Now, if you are hungry and you go to your cupboard and you see chips and cookies and snacks and candy, and you're most likely to eat those things that are present. One thing that I implemented many years ago is to rarely have any junk in my house, and this really decreases the amount of junk that I eat overall. I'm not saying to never buy junk, but the less you have it in your house, the better it is for your overall health and the less you're going to consume these foods. And it's important to have alternatives to those snacks. So if you are a snacker, have some healthier snacks available for you, such as hummus and carrots or nuts, which are my favorite snack, or some healthier vegetable chips or something along those lines to really decrease the amount of undesirable foods we're eating, especially when we're at home 24/7. It would be a little bit different if so many of us weren't at home all the time, but when we're at home constantly, having those things tempting us, whispering to us to come eat them, is definitely something we can decrease. The third tip I have for staying healthy at home during quarantine is to have balanced meals. Many people that I work with complain that they get hungry shortly after their meal, and this might lead to them eating more snacks during the day because they feel hungry in between their meals. One thing that I noticed for people that get hungry quickly after their meal is that their meal was not sufficiently balanced. When I mean balanced meal, I mean having a good amount of protein, good amount of fiber, good amount of carbohydrate, and some healthy fats. These are what make a good meal and help us stay full for an X amount of time. Now, due to various people will digest things differently, but I do know if we have things If we have those 4 components of our meal, we're more likely to stay fuller longer than if we did not have a fully balanced meal. Now, this topic deserves a whole YouTube video to itself, but I do want to mention that the main things that keep us full for longer are things with fiber in them, such as vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and nuts, things with healthy fats in them, and having a good source of protein. It's important to have an adequate amount of all these foods with every meal to ensure we are staying full throughout the day and really maximizing on every time we eat to absorb all our nutrients and get enough intake and energy throughout the day. The 4th tip I'm going to talk about today for how to stay healthy at home during quarantine is to practice mindful eating. Maybe some of you have heard of the term mindful eating, maybe some of you have not. For me, mindful eating is a practice where you bring awareness to what you're eating, how you're eating, when you're eating, and all the items to do around mealtime or when we're eating anything. This is a very powerful practice and can be done in many ways. The ways that I like to practice mindful eating is to always ask myself, am I actually hungry? Do I really need this right now? Or am I just bored? Anytime I find myself going to the cupboard, which is often actually, I ask myself, okay, Pearl, are you actually hungry? Then I wonder, am I? And I check in with myself. So checking in with yourself is always a good practice to do, regardless of what it is. It could be around food, it could be around life, work, anything. But checking in with yourself to see how you actually are feeling in the moment is very important. More often than not, I'm not actually hungry. I was just bored, or I just felt like getting up and doing something, so I happened to just walk to my fridge. So practicing mindful eating is not only about checking in with yourself when you're hungry, but I also like to ask myself when I'm eating, am I full? And this ensures that I don't overeat. When you start feeling full, it's important to ask yourself if you're actually full or if you could eat a little more. Many of the clients I work with actually overeat just because they thought that, I was full, but I just want to finish what's on my plate. There's no need to overeat. I always encourage people to serve less than they need. So if you're actually hungry and you check in with yourself after you finish your meal, then you can go get some more. When we have extra food on our plate, it's like we need to finish it. I was raised in the place where we had to finish what was on our plate. So I'm still like that. I always ensure to serve myself less than I need. The other thing is to not eat with distractions and be really mindful of what we're eating. When we eat with distractions, when we're on our phone, on TikTok, on Instagram, on our computer eating, we are not paying attention to the actual food, and this is also a very high cause of overeating because we're mindlessly eating while we're on our phones and we don't realize, oh wow, I'm finished my meal already? I don't even feel full. That wasn't good enough. We don't really connect with our food. So that is something I really, really encourage you all to do, is to try to practice mindful eating without distractions, checking in with yourself and seeing if you're actually full. Those are my top tips that help me stay healthy while at home. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you've been enjoying my videos so far. I've been enjoying making videos. It's really been nice to get away from a screen and talk to something, even though it's not a real person, but it's like I'm talking to people and talking about something I love. If you made it this far, thank you again. Please comment below, like and subscribe. If you want to connect with me on Instagram, please do. I will link that up. If you haven't gotten my free resource yet, please click in the link below. I will have it there. And next week, I'm going to be talking about how to stay active at home during quarantine. So stay tuned, click the notification bell, and I'll see you there. Thanks again, guys. And until next time, stay healthy.